Hello everyone, Namaste, welcome to Sangha. How's everybody doing? Just give me a second, please. Hello everyone, Namaste, welcome to Sangha. How's everybody doing? So, please, anybody have any question? May I ask?
Hi, Yogi. I've put one up. You want me to ask it?
There is please do.
Talk about Kali Yug and its relevance today to today's events.
Kali
Yog, the age of Kali, and its relevance to today's events.
What is today's event?
Like what's going on?
I can't really hear you, my dear.
Yeah, I've got bad internet. Its connection to what's going on in today's events.
Today's events, what's going on in?
Well, not like in today, as in like in modern time.
What's going in a modern time? Well, there is even I think we talked even time of Sati Yoga. There was also a similar problems. People had issues. Otherwise, I other doctors, the beds, but at the time of the bed, or Rishi sages probably would not be needed. So the health concerns is always been not just only in Kali Yuga, but also in all the yogas. If there was no need, if there was no unhealthy forces in society, God may not need to incarnate. So, most important part, personal my advice, Kali Yuga is there, it's a time of cycle. It will always be there. It's important part as an individual not to relate with the Kali Yuga, but to relate with themselves as an individual and try to transform yourself. Kali Yuga will not have much impact on you. If you are part of that cycle of Kali Yuga will have impact on you. And you will be bound by the behavior and the circumstances, desires, all aspect of whatever the Kali Yuga offers to you, you will be bound by it. So, as a spiritual practitioner and individual, Kali Yuga is the more important part. You should engage with more spirituality, but more greater than what probably people have done in Satya Yoga or Dwapar or Treta. But if we blame everything on the time because that's what is happening because of the time. Yes, time do play a major role, but there were the demonic energies, also the satanic energies. call it, or you can call it energies that were destructive force was also available at the time when the Krishna incarnated, when the Buddha came, when the Rama came, when the other divine beings have been on the earth. Even the most saints have came along. Why there is a need for spirituality? Why there is a need for a uh, transformation preaching if there is nothing negative taking place at that time? If you're looking back Vedic system, Dharma, all the message is there to transform. So obviously there was a some forces that were not aligned with divine presence. So it's always been the same cycle. It's important part not to relate with the time, but to relate with the self. How can you, as an individual, break the cycle of the yogas? You are actually breaking the cycle of life and death. Never mind the yogas. So important part. Uh, I will not really entertain. It becomes a quite intellectual exercise, but important to understand it, but not to indulge in it. Most important part you indulge to understand is how Kali Yuga is affecting you, not what is happening in Kali Yuga around you. If the prime focus is to understand, analyze, and judge, and live accordingly what is happening around you in Kali Yuga, there is no possibility of transformation and there is not much growth is going to take place. So if as an individual you try to transform yourself, how the Kali Yuga is having effect on you, how you relate yourself in the time of Kali Yuga, how can you not to be affected by it? And that should be the prime focus of an individual. Does that make sense to you, my dear?
Yes, thank you, Yogi. Very much so. Thank you.
There's a, we can talk about Kali Yuga, it just be a information, intellectual, creates more questions, but not going to benefit as an individual. Let's say uh, you can talk about the food, but don't cook it. You can talk about it, somebody else having a great time or what is happening there, but you yourself not happening much there. So, as an individual, I will request forget about what is happening outside. You are Kali Yuga, okay, is only on the earth timing, but if you look back in the previous yugas, there's also been a problem. That's why the masters have to descend. Masters have to come to the earth, or the divine being have to come to the earth. The rishis, yogis, buddhas, saints have come on the earth to give the message, so not to be affected that demonic energy or the energy that is very destructive at the time. So it is not just only it is in Kali Yuga, but difficulty in the Kali Yuga might be the this lack of truth, and the people's importance is slightly different. Will be much more easily influenced by or to the unhealthy habits or environment. But there were situations also in the past too, because what is available as per circumstances, human nature is always been the same. There is not much difference to it. The human nature always been subject of greed, is always been subject of lust, is always been subject of uh, deceit, is always been subject of dishonesty, is always been a Whatever quality you can find today in Kali Yuga, those qualities will also exist before Kali Yuga. Only difference is now there is more. Before there might be less, but I wasn't available at the time. I only can go by the evidence of literature, but there is always been the problem. Okay, so how is anybody making any comments on YouTube?
Yes, there is. There's a few questions that are rolled into one question on YouTube.
Please, can you repeat? Is the sound?
Yeah, I can read it. I can read it here. Namaste, Yogi. I would have a question related to your last week's comment when you said nothing is real. How do we understand that and make sense of it? Because then it questions almost everything. So that's the first part of the question.
Nothing is real. So if you make it personalized and if you make it a very individual, when you're living through your senses, what you see outside is just a projection. It's just reflecting inside. When you go to sleep, I give you an example of it. You actually not sleeping. Your Atman or your higher self actually never sleep. It may go to rest, your body may go to the rest, but when you are resting or when you are in meditative state, you have no idea even what your name is. So never mind the objects around you. You are not even aware what role actually you are in when you are with yourself. So when I made last week comment, nothing is real, is only if you have transcended your mind beyond matter. If your mind is indulging and connected with matter, everything is real, even including your ego, including your name, including your facial appearance, as well as every identity, everything you own, that is all real because it only depends from what place of awareness you are looking. So even your physical body is not real, never mind any other objects. I'm talking about nothing permanent, nothing stay as it is. Everything constantly changing shapes, constantly transforming, constantly frequency changing. If there is a changeable substance there, it can't be real. It's already changing constantly, but do we have ability to perceive it? Probably not. So when you are in a meditative state, when you have transcended your mind, in that state, whatever you feel, even your thoughts are no longer real. Never mind what is manifested. So I hope that makes sense to you. The what you have taken the question is out of context, but there was some other things around it as well at the time. Okay. Why do we? There's a next question, Michelle. Can you read?
Yeah, so adding on to that topic, there's a series of questions, some of which you've answered, but I will repeat. Why do we?
Did you ask? It's okay.
Why do we strive to achieve everything? How come we can exist in an unreal world? How is it even possible? And why is it so hard to wake up from it?
Because if you live, since the day you were born, you've been programmed to fight. You're not programmed to live. You've been programmed to exist. You've been programmed to compete, not appreciate your existence, not have a gratitude for your existence, but to compete. And when you are in a competitive mode, you're always going to feel a lack. Why do we work? You can never be free from a work, you can never be free from a karma. Even the breath itself a work. There's some essential basic requirement for the body, bhautic requirement for the body. Any spiritual practices never tells you not to work, but not to identify. There's two separate things. Not karma vairagya, or not try not to indulge with the karma or not to identify with the karma, but to develop a karma sannyasa, means renunciation of karma or dispassion towards to karma, identification with the karma. The two things. You can continue doing the karma, but not to identify with it. Other parts, some of the people use the karma sannyasa, which is either renunciation of karma, which is not possible. In Bhagavad Gita, when Arjun constantly talking about, I don't want to do that, I will go to the mountain and meditate, I will renounce my karma, I will run away from my duties. What Krishna says, please do your dharma. What your dharma is at that time, do it. But you renounce, not renounce the karma, but renounce the relationship with the karma. You do the karma vairagya, create a dispassion toward to it. You just do it. There is no identification toward to it. So as long as you identify with it, there will be problems. But if you don't identify, you practice, you live, and whatever karmas you do is to enhance, maintain your living being, so you can continue your progress of spiritual development. But sometimes spiritual development becomes secondary, but accumulation becomes priority. So sometimes a society is responsible, sometimes education system is responsible, sometimes our own greed is responsible. Because if you are a competition with somebody else because they have a better house, they have a better car, they have a better partner, they have a better body, so you constantly or they have a better clothes, their lifestyle is better, they travel a lot more. So actually your own psyche is created to work because you are a competition. You are not santosh enough there, not a contentment enough. The God inside you, the energy inside you, or the godly presence inside you is the same as in everyone. So there is no karma actually taking place in one point if you look at it. But it's taking place because you are identifying with it. So important part, even you, as long as you are in the body, you will be doing, as long as you are breathing, you are doing a karma. Even you are moving the body, you are doing the karma. But let that karma happen, but develop a relationship of not identification with it, not indulge in it. Try not to claim it. It is a part of nature. what is required to be done. If you look, most of the rishis, monks, the basic necessities are required for the life. Basic necessities are required for life. Like let's say you are working every day because latest phone comes every 6 months and you want to have the latest phone. So you work towards to it because you have to replace it, you have to appear in the trend. Second part, the perfect clothing companies came up with similar ideas. They also bring the latest branding designer clothes. Clothes covers the body. It makes no difference how often do you change your clothes or what latest designer level clothes you have. And are you up to date in the trend? So those subjects are a capitalist viewpoint. If your mind is capitalist, your education is capitalist, and there is nothing wrong being capitalist as well, as long as you are not controlled by it, as long as your mind is not driven by it. Be enjoy it, but if it's not there, you should not feel bad about it. You should just celebrate life. Life is more important than the work itself. Whatever work you need to be done to make yourself that you're living, carry on doing your transformation work to be the better human being or the greater human being, and whatever your mind is related to do, or whatever your dharma is at that time. I hope that makes sense to you. If not, you can ask next time. In the question two, you say how can even possible, how is too hard wake up from it. It is waking up from it requires a willpower, requires the understanding of the purpose of life. If my purpose of life is I'm not aware of it, I borrow it from somebody else, I'm living that idea of purpose. And then one day I get disheartened, I take some other new idea, and third idea is, remember, idea of purpose of life is to be happy. Purpose of life to be contained. Purpose of his life, yourself, to be happy and celebrating your life and living fully, not constantly chasing the ideas of other people. But when something sits inside you, it makes you feel content. Enjoy that moment for time being as long as it lasts. Then, if there's a lack comes along, then try to again align with yourself till you feel content again. So learn to celebrate life, not only just question life as well. And anybody else in the next question, Michelle?
There are a couple more questions. Does anybody here have any they want to ask or follow up before we go back to the other questions?
Yogi, I wouldn't mind if you elaborate a little bit more about Dharma, because I missed that bit. So I've got really bad internet when you were talking about Arjuna and he was speaking to Krishna. So I missed that little bit. If you can just...
Let's say my dharma, as per my understanding, is to live, love, or serve, practice yoga, share what I have, share my life force to my best ability to enhance people's life. That's my dharma. And if I see that, I also have the day-to-day lifestyle as well. I also wake up, I also cook, I also eat, I also do gardening. These are also the karma too. But those things facilitate my life to be me. Then if I do not follow that dharma, my inner truth, dharma is not fixed, is very individual. If you follow dharma as a religion, is a fix. It's like everybody is the same. But that's not the possibility. On a existence plane, when a physical appearance of the body, you are an individual. Your dharma is individual based on your karmic education, samskaras from this lifetime and previous lifetime. So you can't actually be behaving like everybody else. So when you talk about a dharma in a volume point of view, the most religious concept, everybody try to practice the same dharma. But your dharma is your dharma. Maybe your dharma is not kindness, your dharma is just to forgive. Maybe your dharma is to serve people. Maybe your dharma is to feed people. Maybe your dharma is to educate people. Maybe your dharma is to help people get educated. Maybe your dharma is to look after animal. Maybe your dharma is not to look after anyone. Just sit and meditate. So as per individual discovery, where you feel contained, where you feel fully aligned with your inner truth. And also, let's say the doctor's dharma is to operate and cut people's body. I give you an example. And doctors say, I don't really like cutting people because that is violence. But his dharma is to help people, but that is his dharma of his understanding. If he, at the time, he can save somebody's life by cutting, but he decided not to follow his dharma at that time, that will not be a kind act to do. So dharma is a very individual, and as per person's action required to the best of his ability, using his intelligence, using his senses, to doing whatever karma the person is doing, to doing it fully, honestly, doing it fully with 100% attention to the helping, giving as much as possible to peace, to society. But in that, there is a guy who carries a knife, okay? Same doctor goes along in the street, cuts somebody else's stomach. His dharma is to use the knife. But same knife he uses in the hospital to save somebody's life, a same knife has been used by the same person in the street to take life of somebody. So doctor's dharma is to use the knife to save the life, not to use the knife to take people's life. So there is a very subtle difference, and also a big difference into it if you look at it. So it's very individual. You cannot generalize the concept of dharma, in my personal opinion. So next question, Michelle.
Okay. This has come from submitted by a participant who says she doesn't eat animals or onion or garlic.
Congratulations, the best thing you can do to your health, not to eat animals.
However, when I'm with my father, he loves cooking for the family, and the moment of mealtime seems very important for him. I avoid eating animals or onion and garlic when I'm with him, but I find it difficult to avoid all this food always without getting some tension or disappointment. Do you think if I eat with the purpose that he is happy, it will still have a bad effect?
Maybe you put him to retirement, tell him, Papa, you are old, I'm going to cook for you now. And you cook him a vegetarian Sattvic meal. One thing you can do. Second part, tell tell him the fact that you are not eating it because of your health conditions, or you prefer not to. And second, if you don't like to eat it, be honest. Never do something to please anyone. Take your own food with you. Eat it. Stand by your dharma. Your dharma is at that time not to eat animals. You don't like eating that unhealthy, non-sattvic meal. Don't do it. Unless you want to regret it, please do it. That is your life. But also, if your father tells you tomorrow to do something that is unhealthy, will you do it to please him? Probably not. So why does it make a difference to eat the food that he wants you to eat? Tomorrow, if your father decided to maybe misbehave or talk to you wrongly, aggressively, will you tolerate it? I hope not. So, same circumstances, eating food is also you engaging with the senses. If you feel angry at the time, tell him, if you force me, I will not come. It requires a from your side as well, how much actually you understand, how much actually you stand by your dharma, how much actually you stand by your compassion, kindness, and love towards animals. It is not about your father. It is about your life. It's your judgment. It is your dharma. So if it was me, I will not compromise it. But today is your father. Tomorrow is your boyfriend who taking drugs. You go and see him at dinner table. If he taking drugs, will you take drugs to please him? If you keep doing that, how many things you will do in your life? You will be pleasing everyone around you. So you can actually never be yourself. So I will say, put him to retirement, tell him whenever I come and see you, I will bring my own food and I will eat. I will not sit down at dinner table even. Or I will cook, everybody eat vegetarian meal. You put your conditions. You lay as important for him, make it important of your value is important to yourself as well. So I don't really know the how can even that be a question to eat something to please him. Obviously, your dharma is not strong enough inside you even to doubt that way. So even you are not aligned with your own truth. That okay, I will do it to please somebody. Not really. You should not do anything that against your own dharma, against your own system that makes you feel uneasy inside, if makes you cause pain inside, but somebody else getting happy, you are doing it. I wouldn't recommend that. And I would recommend that to anyone. Zero obligation. Remember that. Obligations kills your spirit, brings resentments inside. This is also not going to be very healthy for you. Anybody else have any question? Did that make sense to you? Person whoever asked the question.
Yogi, tonight we also have our first question that came over Instagram stories.
Please do.
What is the best breathing exercise for morning practice?
Depend what time you wake up. Is a waking up practice. Some of the breathing exercise practices are need a guidance, need a correct instructions to practice, but general practice with a zero cause Anybody can practice because it is a public domain. Simply, first you lie down on your belly, on your back, do equal in breath, equal out breath, belly breathe in, lying in your back. Let's say you inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You exhale 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So continuously inhale, exhale for 5 to 6 minutes. That will calm, also stimulate your digestive system as well as your circulatory system. It's good practice to do basic one. Second practice you can do breathing exercise. Inhale, exhale 12 times through your left nostril, keeping the right nostril closed. Then you do 12 breaths to the right nostril, keeping the left nostril closed 12 times. Then you inhale, exhale 12 times to the both nostril. You can maintain the ratio. Try to inhale for 4, exhale for 8. If you find difficult, inhale, exhale for same length. So inhale, exhale for 4 or 8 to your left nostril, keeping the right nostril closed. Then inhale, exhale to the right nostril for same length, or twice the same ratio as you had done to the left side. Then to the both nostrils, same ratio. But it's not about breathing exercise because you breathe all day long. It's intention and your attention at the time of your dharana, where you're practicing, how you are relating with the breath, mentally relationship with the breath, how you're feeling the breath, how much attention you are paying to the breath as it happening. Are you aggressively breathing, or you breathing with love, or you breathing with awareness, or just forcing your system to inhale, exhale? All those things also plays the major role when you practicing breathing. Especially in the morning, if you go to practice, try to feel the practice as if you are embracing the in-breath and embracing the out-breath. There should not be any form of aggression at all. Does that make sense? Anybody else have any question? If not, thank you very much, everyone. I hope you enjoyed your gathering, and we'll see you possibly at next Sangha. If you have any questions, please do reach out. And that live stream will be posted on YouTube. You can actually watch it back again. If you have any questions arising, you can also ask afterward as well.